The cream of the crop!
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to The Fringe. If you watched this morning's video, and if you haven't, you really should. We're talking about free speech in this country, political speech, again, hate speech. It's being labeled as hate speech. Essentially, it's not really hate speech. There isn't such a thing as hate speech. It's speech that they hate. Ideally, as we move forward and wade our feet through the waters of censorship, YouTube, pulling a Mark Zuckerberg and coming out and admitting at the 11th hour that they have silenced people, that they censored accounts. This makes me question if they're going to continue censoring accounts or if they're going to let up on them, but they're now apologizing, guys. They're sorry. And I understand, hey, I'm mocking the platform that I put my videos out on. We all knew that shadow bans were happening. We all know that censorship was huge, especially during the pandemic days. But what's being discussed here should infuriate people, as they're calling it the big tech backlash. Google is to reinstate banned YouTube accounts censored for political speech. My question is if you were censored, why would you want to come back? I've often said on this channel that once a viable competitor, and I'm not talking the Green Channel, I know, see, I can't even mention them or this video gets censored down. You got to have real competition. I'm talking in terms of value for commentators, for creators to go over there to another platform, a monetary value, time versus money. Once a viable competitor comes in for YouTube, you're going to see more of this. You're going to see, it happened with, what was it, MySpace back in the day? God, if you're old enough to remember that. As soon as Facebook came along and was viable enough, MySpace crumbled. This is going to happen to YouTube if they don't pick up their socks and start realizing that their advertisers, while they're important to keeping the lights on, they'll stick around if you're not censoring people, because this is the most consumed form of media. People don't watch cable TV anymore. They watch YouTube. They watch TikTok, Instagram Reels. This is the new form of media. Elon Musk says it all the time, you're the media now. Mark Zuckerberg, you guys ever remember when he came out on Joe Rogan and said, hey, during the election campaigns, we were told not to put forward stories about laptops, about Hunter Biden. We were told to suppress those stories, limit them as misinformation and hate speech. Well, now Google is going to reinstate banned YouTube accounts. I'm curious what this will do for accounts like channels like the Celtic Canuck, who were kicked off the platform. Fox News reporting Google vowed on Tuesday to offer YouTube accounts that were permanently banned for political speech the ability to be reinstated. The big tech giant admitted that it once faced pressure from the Biden administration to remove content about the pandemic. Again, you'll forgive me for censoring even this video because I have little faith, based off of how my videos are treated on this platform, that I'm not being censored even though this is coming to light. The Canadian government has gone to great lengths to make sure our speech is censored, which reminds me, if you're enjoying this, please leave a thumbs up and a comment down below. Videos like this are the most controversial on the platform. They'll get shut down. Lately, comments have been deleted, disappearing. Views have been disappearing. Helps the channel out greatly if you also hit the subscribe button. Google detailed its remarkable shift in a document first obtained by Fox News Digital that a lawyer for the company provided to the House Judiciary Committee. The new policy from Google, also known by its parent company Alphabet, could affect both average users and well-known figures like FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino, White House Counterterrorism Chief Sebastian Gorka, and War Room podcast host Steve Bannon, all whom were permanently banned in recent years for COOF or election-related content. So you weren't allowed to say things about jabs. You weren't allowed to say things about effectiveness of things. You weren't allowed to criticize your government. And of course, this is where it comes back to things like Jimmy Kimmel, the censorship bill in Canada. This is where the government says, well, you have free speech. We're just not going to allow it on our platform. We're not going to encourage it. We're going to suppress it. So when people complain, well, Jimmy Kimmel was let go because of free speech. He was let go because of money. It's the same reason YouTube suppressed this stuff. It doesn't have to do with political pressure. It's their bottom line. It's their advertisers. If you don't believe me, go into YouTube and search up the adpocalypse. You'll get all the information you need from that. Then you'll understand why YouTube did this. Quote, reflecting the company's commitment to free expression, YouTube will provide an opportunity for all creators to rejoin the platform if the company terminated their channels for repeated violations of COOF and elections integrity policies that are no longer in effect. I wonder if they're going to give this channel its silver play button for labeling me with misinformation during the Canadian federal election for posting a video of Mark Carney quoting what was labeled as misinformation. Maybe I'll reach out to them and ask about that. Bongino ended his conservative radio show, which live streamed on Rumble. When he joined the administration this year, he has attributed his popularity on the platform to permanently losing his YouTube account in 2022. YouTube permanently banned Bongino, who had one of the most followed accounts on the platform, for spreading what was COOF misinformation about masks. The document from Google also noted that YouTube values conservative voices on its platform. Really, YouTube? Because that's not the way this channel's treated. They acknowledge that the creators have extensive reach and play an important role in civic discourse. So what they're saying is, hey, the tides are turning a little bit. They're starting to shift. So we're going to be a fair weather outlet and start to kind of move with the turning of the tide. People are fed up with the woke narrative. So we're going to start shifting in that direction too. Look, while I'm applauding it and I'm happy if that's the case, this shouldn't have happened to begin with. The document included a section about the Biden administration and said White House officials at the time pushed Google behind the scenes to remove perceived misinformation related to the COOF. So it doesn't matter if they pushed that on you, you complied, right? Google, as large as it is, had the decision to make of whether or not to comply with the pressure from the White House. It's like saying, well, I only cheated on my spouse because my friends dared me to do it. Well, you still did it. You're still responsible for what you did. The lawyer for Google also noted that the big tech platform censored content independently of the Biden administration based on its internal policies, but that the company has since rolled back those policies. Oh, tisk tisk. We apologize. We're rolling it back, guys. It's okay, right? No harm, no foul. We only cost people their revenue, their reputation, their ability to get information out and speak freely. We're sorry. It reminds me of that South Park episode. We're sorry. Senior Biden administration officials, include White House officials, conducted repeated and sustained outreach to Alphabet and pressed the company regarding certain user-generated content related to the pandemic that did not violate its policies, the lawyer wrote. The administration created a political atmosphere that sought to influence the actions of platforms based on their concerns regarding misinformation. I can't stand that word. Reached for comment, a Google spokesperson told Fox News Digital it did not have anything more to add besides what was in the document. Google's revelations came in response to a years-long Republican-led investigation by the committee into big tech companies, including Google, that censored and suppressed contents on their platform related to the pandemic, the 2020 election, and Hunter Biden. Again, Mark Zuckerberg going on Joe Rogan a while back to admit openly that they had the pressure to do that. And again, we're sorry. However, Facebook's numbers have been dwindling ever since. Again, Meta is one of the worst platforms for censorship out there. They're slowly starting to realize that as their stock values are plummeting. YouTube has always taken this stance because, well, they're the be all end all for now. For now. You never stay at the top forever. That's the thing these companies need to realize. YouTube's posture follows Meta similarly shifting last year towards denouncing the Biden administration's pressure tactics, which were well documented in emails provided to the committee. They're covering their ass. That's all this is. Oh, look, we came out ahead of time. We're not guilty. We admit it. It was all those guys, though. I would have got away with it if it weren't for those meddling kids. Meta revealed at the time it was doing away with third-party fact-checkers, a move that President Joe Biden called really shameful. YouTube has not used outside fact-checkers and vowed that it will empower fact-checkers to take action on or label content on the platform. Again, they have AI that does it, and it's often mistaken. I have countless subscribers that come to me in live streams and say, I'm unsubscribed multiple times a week because their AI algorithm thinks that they're bots. Views are taken away from videos, damaging videos' outreach, simply because YouTube thinks that it's bots. Or they're suppressing it. It's one of the two. Parallel to the congressional investigations of the lawsuit brought by 2 Republican attorney generals over the social media censorship, discovery in that case largely mirrored what the committee uncovered. The Supreme Court ultimately did not decide on the merits of the case, Murphy versus Missouri, and instead found that the plaintiffs lacked standing to bring it. But the lower courts had largely sided with the plaintiffs, including a judge who found the federal government seemed to have, quote, assumed a role similar to an Orwellian ministry of truth. That's what I wanted to get to, because what we're talking about here is the same reason that hate speech laws can't happen in Canada. Who is determining what is hate speech? Who is determining what we can and can't say? Or what's offensive, what isn't offensive? Who should go to jail, by the way, for a possible life sentence for speaking their mind? The High Court's decision disappointed Republicans who had hoped for a landmark ruling that social media companies' censorship practices violate the First Amendment. The case also explored jawboning, which involves the government pressuring private companies to censor their speech. They already know what happens. The term jawboning has resurfaced in the wake of Charlie Kirk's death after ABC late-night host Jimmy Kimmel suggested that the suspect Tyler Robinson was a member of a MAGA gang. By the way, I can't do a video because YouTube pushes those out. But ultimately, Jimmy Kimmel being reinstated tonight, all the networks that broadcast his signal across the country are saying they're still not going to show it. It doesn't matter what ABC Disney does. This is a dumpster fire. Authorities have said Robinson felt Kirk spread hate and that he engraved the bullet casings with gamer-inspired anti-fascist messaging. It's the trans Tifa. It's not gamer stuff. I love that because the words Bella Ciao were used, which is associated with gamers. I think because of a Call of Duty game or something. That they ultimately say, oh, it's gamer inspired. It's just them pushing it to another narrative. Kimmel also repeatedly expressed sympathy for Kirk's family and condemned the shooting. No, he didn't. If he did, it was very bland. He doesn't care. Concerns with jawboning arose because the Federal Communications Commission chairman, Brendan Carr, made a veiled threat about Kimmel's remarks ahead of the ABC pulling him off the air. The FCC has regulatory authority over broadcasting networks, including ABC, but still must abide by the First Amendment. So that's the key, and that's where this whole war has gone on with social media to determine, are you a publisher or are you a free speech platform? There's certain laws that these companies have to abide by, and companies like Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, I know some of them are all connected with Meta and themselves, but the point is that they all sit there and say, well, we're not a publisher, but we are allowed to censor. It's kind of a gray area, you see. In addition to the censorship concessions, Google also criticized European Union's Digital Services Act and Digital Markets Act and told the House Judiciary Committee it will remain vigilant in the face of legal obligations to other countries. That's where the concern comes in again when it comes to Canada, when it comes to Australia, when it comes to the EU. These censorship laws have nothing to do with YouTube. And that's why I say, like, YouTube wants to play it's not us, we're just complying. We're just doing our job. Just doing my job. Canada's in big trouble when it comes to censorship on its platforms. It's in big trouble when it comes to free speech in its country. But watching YouTube start to sweat as the backpedaling begins is anything short but laughable. Again, I'd sure like to know where my silver play button is that this channel earned, that Google deemed that because I was spreading misinformation on a video about Mark Carney. Again, who decides that? I'd sure like to know what happens moving forward, and if videos like this are going to be pushed down if YouTube says, oh, we don't want people talking bad about YouTube. I guess time will tell. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Let's see if we can push this video out, share it on your socials, like, subscribe, leave a thumbs up, do all the YouTube jazz. Let's see how viral we can make this video, or if YouTube is actually suppressing it and pushing it down. Let's do a little test here with our community. If you haven't yet, I hope this video earned your subscription. Join me Wednesday and Friday nights for our live shows. Unhinged Fringe on Wednesdays, Friday Night Fringe Fridays, as I sit with the beautiful Mrs. Fringe every Friday and we talk about everything happening this week in politics, everything coming up in the week ahead, and as well as Q&A within the greatest YouTube community on the platform. I look forward to chatting with you guys in those live streams. I most importantly look forward to chatting with you this week, starting at 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, every Wednesday and Friday here on the channel. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll catch you on the next one.